Hello, my name is Reagan Gould, and today I'm interviewing my grandfather, Joe Pinto. Joe, thank you for being here. How are you today?
I'm very fine, thank you.
That's great to hear. Joe, it seems like all your life you've been very musically inclined. I want to ask, where did you get your start playing music?
I was very young. Music was in the family. Both my brothers played, had two cousins played, and instruments.
What did they play?
My brother Ralph played drums. My brother Doug played trumpet. They're both deceased now. I'm very old, by the way. My Uncle Joe had a big band back in the late 40s, early 50s, and they did a lot of touring, actually. But live music was a thing back then, you know.
That's pretty interesting. It seems like all my life I've asked you like a million different times to teach me a million different instruments, but what would you say is the most essential instrument to learn when you're young and you're just starting out?
Ideally, I think everyone should start off playing piano, learning piano, because it's complete. You learn both clefs in music. You learn a lot of boat music, and quite frankly, when you have a piano, you have a whole orchestra right there. Unlike if you were a sax player and you just played melody, and that was nice. However, with the piano, you played melody, harmony. Most composers will compose on the piano because it's just as I said, you have a whole orchestra in front of you to choose from.
Yeah, I've heard stories like Duke Ellington would wake up in the middle of the night and play it on the piano, write it down.
Yes, he did. Well, not that I knew Duke Ellington, but the story is that he'd have a little electric keyboard next to his bed, and it's something, he'd be sleeping. All of a sudden, he'd get up and write it down, because get up the next morning and say, gee, I had that, what was it? But if it's written down, it's there. Yeah, he's known to have done that.
When you played the piano when you were younger, was that your choice, or was that kind of put on you?
I really didn't have much of a choice. As I said, most of the family played. Unfortunately, my sister didn't play anything. I guess, forgive me, but I guess women weren't supposed to play instruments back then. I don't know. However, it's hard to say. I liked playing. I liked music. I always enjoyed music, but piano was about the only instrument left, and you're going to play it.
Yeah.
Regardless if whether you were very gifted or not, they gave you the toughest instrument to play.
Yeah.
And that was me.
Yeah,
so.
you're the baby of the family. That's why.
I am the baby by a long shot.
All
yes.
right. Well, that talk about how you can learn the different clefs and everything. That's pretty good advice.
Yeah.
We'll be back in just a minute after this commercial break. Stay tuned.
My bad, what's up?
Do you have the script ready to go? Is that a no? Why do you do this every time? I'm ready to help you. Why do you always procrastinate?
Control the noise with Bose Quiet Comfort Earbuds.
And we are back with Joe Pinto. Before the break, you mentioned that you were very passionate about music in your youth. But I know, to me, you've mentioned that you were also very passionate about sports when you were younger. How did you find a balance between the two?
Well, I started piano when I was about 9 or 10. Then I got into sports. One of the things is that most of your friends, kids that you played with, most of them didn't play an instrument or no music lessons or anything at all. So you went with your friends. They all played baseball, basketball, whatever it was, so that's what you did. So I never really balanced the two. I never really left the piano. Every once in a while I'd go fiddle around with it. But my interest really perked with sports. And so, as I said, to do both, I don't think I was talented enough or disciplined enough to try to do both.
What kind of sports did you play when you were younger?
Everything that was, well, the traditional sports, baseball, basketball, did some football, just pick up. Yeah.
That's pretty interesting. What would you say is one of your favorite memories associated in your youth with your history of sports?
There were a lot of them, I have to say. We won, when I was playing at Central Falls High School back in the day, that was when you had two sports. We had baseball and basketball. Couldn't afford anything else. We won 9 consecutive division championships. But the one thing that stands out, makes me kind of most proud, I was playing baseball, and American Legion, we were playing, we went up to New York. Excuse me. Played in the Northeast Regional Championship. Next step is Colorado Springs for the national championship. The first team we were faced against, and I think they did it on purpose, get rid of Rhode Island while we can, The first team we played was New York. And they had this pitcher. His name was Donnelly. I don't recall his first name. But he was, the Yankees were all over this guy, even in the papers.
Like scouting and stuff? Like scouting, they were scouting him?
I'm sorry.
You said the Yankees were scouting him?
Oh, God, there was scouts all over the place. Those are big tournaments back in then. However, Mr. Donnelly was on the mound that day. I got 4 for 5 off him. Okay, and that was quite a thrill. I mean, this was the guy the Yankees were all over, and I don't know where he ended up. A couple of the guys followed his career a little bit. He did go with the Yankees. Apparently didn't last long. I don't know, like 90% of guys that we didn't have the draft back then. Yeah. Everything was a free-for-all. If you found someone, we'll get him signed. But he did have a career for a few years in the minor leagues, and I think he went up with the Yankees a month back down. That's most of the cases. But yeah, I have to say that did me pretty proud. Get 4 for 5 against this guy. Not too bad. By the way, I never met one scout, so that ends that. Go ahead.
Yeah. For the less sports enthusiasts who like me, people non-sports enthusiasts, I should say. What does 4 for 5 mean? I personally just.
Okay, well, I was at bat 4 times, officially at bat, and I got 4 hits. So that's 4 for 5.
Should have known. Anyway, so Rhode Island when it's New York, beat New York. That sounds like a great underdog story. It's always great to hear those kinds of stories.
We also beat New Jersey the following day, so we sent the big boys back home.
Yeah, the big boys sent them away. We'll be right back after this commercial break. Stay tuned.
Do you have a queen?
Go fish!
And this is why we don't do friend group game nights anymore.
Try out bicycle playing cards, because who doesn't love a good brawl? Only $9.99 at literally anywhere you can buy cards like Walmart or Amazon, I don't know.
Tired of spending hours and making a mess cutting veggies? Okay, I have a solution for you.
Introducing the Nutri-Chopper 3000. No hassle, minimal cleanup. Chop just about anything in seconds. Onions, chopped. Tomatoes, chopped. Cake, sure, chopped. The chopper 300 is not responsible if you chop, slice, or dice yourself instead of the carrot. Please keep all hands, feet, and other body parts away from the blade. Do not attempt to use it as a sword, boomerang, or any other sort of weapon. Enjoy safely.
We are back with Joe Pinto. So, Joe, I wanted to go back to the music we were talking about earlier. So you said you kind of waned away from music in your youth when you're playing sports. How did it find its way back in your life later?
Well, as I said, I always, quite frankly, I always kept in touch with music. And over the years, of course, we had moved, and I didn't have access to a piano.
Yeah.
But I did find some old drums that followed us. My brother, as I said, played drums. So I picked up the drums and I started playing on those, practicing. My brother had taught me years ago just some fundamentals. And I saw a teacher, and we got together and so I started playing the drums. And then as years have passed now, I was attending graduate school here at Rhode Island College. And I ran into a few guys who happened to be in the band. It was just a general business band. And they, just per chance, were looking for a drummer. And we got together. I went to a few rehearsals. And so I started working with this group. And we were together for quite a few years. And I was a school teacher by trade. But music was a nice part-time job. You know, especially you're doing something you love.
Yeah.
The money wasn't bad, and that's pretty much how I got back into music, more so than sports, other than just recreational golf.
Yeah. You've mentioned to me you've played in the Army band or the National Guard band?
Yeah, I was in the 88th Army National Guard band. When I come off of active duty, I was an MP when I was in the service, and when I got off of active duty, I found out that there was a band in the Rhode Island Army National Guard, and so fellow musicians that you meet on different jobs, one fellow approached me about it. He said, gee, you should look into this. And I had no idea that there was such a thing in Rhode Island. So I did, and I spent 22 years there. Another great job.
Yeah.
So music has been very good to me.
And did that, the National Guard, did that take you around like America? Or
No, not really.
Not really?
You played state functions, governor's inauguration.
Bumping elbows.
Yeah, with the biggies, But no, it was pretty much local.
Yeah.
We're the state of Rhode Island.
All right, so that's pretty cool. It's interesting to hear how you started off, you're kind of forced into music, but then gradually you kind of took it on and made it your own. I kind of want to ask you the same question regarding sports. How has different sports followed you into your life and followed you later in your life?
Well, again, you have a passion for something, even though as you get older, you still I really miss playing baseball more than any other sport. But you got to realize as you go on that these things don't work as well. I'm pointing to my knees, of course. But you still watch it on TV, and you try to find something that you can do yourself. And golf's one of those things you just it's ageless. As long as you play within yourself, don't go crazy. You can't swing like Tiger Woods, or your back will fall off or something. But that's about it. And golf is pretty much the only other thing other than going to the gym, trying to exercise.
I mean, that's great as well. Same way that music followed you later in life and helped you, sports seem to have kept you active, kept you spry all these years.
Absolutely. Never discourage anyone from music or sports. Because your academics always come first. Wish I'd have paid more attention to that. However, it is what it is.
Well, that's all the time we have, folks. Mr. Pinto, thank you for sharing your stories and anecdotes with us. I'm Reagan Gould. Thank you for watching.